Hey y'all, this is Billy from Permapasture's Farm.
This is Darren Strong from Hacks from the Homesteader.
This is Grumpy from Grumpy Acres Farm.
Here's the cool thing that's going to happen today, y'all. Here represented in front of you, you got 3 different branches of service. You got Army, Air Force, Marines right there.
Hoorah.
There we go. All of us here in one place at one time. Here's the cool thing that's going to happen today. Check out this awesome looking cabin. It's an Airbnb that we're all here. Down the way you got Patty and Angela. I don't know if you can see them. Their wives. William, of course, is holding the camera. Michelle's at home. So you're going to really get a special thing today, y'all. You're going to see a perspective of how you would go about defending a property from 3 different perspectives, all looking at the same place at the same time. So right here is the house, but we're on, what is it, a couple acres out here?
Say it's close to 5 or 6.
Probably 5 or 6 acres, and it's in a specific place. But we're going to start at the entrance, and you're going to hear about how all of us would defend this place, how you would protect it, where you'd put your stuff. So this is the consummate video of permaculture preparedness. Check it out. All right, y'all. We're here at the entrance of the property, and we're just going to have a natural discussion with 3 veterans with a lot of experience in the homestead and permaculture. Garen is also a permaculture designer. So we're at the outside of it. Garen, what are you seeing right off?
Well, first thing I want to say is before you do anything, one of the first things you do on a permaculture design, or when you're doing it on your property, is you want to walk your property. You want to get to know your property, and that's one of the basic tenets of permaculture. So if you're looking to defend your property, you have to walk around and see what's naturally there for you. And we just in the 5 minutes it took to walk from the house, just talking and stuff, we found a couple of features that would benefit defense, and you incorporate that stuff into your design. And the first thing I like about this property in particular is its location. It's a long ways down a dirt road. So that's your first line of defense is you're not easily accessible. All right, out of sight, out of mind, basically. You can't rely on that 100%, but it's a great starting place.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Same thing.
You were walking the
There's
front
3
here.
different gravel roads to get here. And if you look down this way, how they've got it graded and banked, it's on the low side, and you come down through, you're not going to leave the road easily unless you've got a rig that's set up to get there.
What we're all talking about? Yeah.
That's the fence right there of just the way that they take care of the road.
So right off the bat, y'all, they're talking avenues of approach. How can somebody approach your place, right? So now here that we are at the entrance, what do y'all see? What do you like? What do you dislike about it? And what would you do to change it?
Well, the first important thing about defending a homestead or your house, you do not defend it from the home. You do not defend it from the main building.
It's not where you start.
You push your defense out as far as you can. So that's why we're sitting here on the edge of the property. And Darren, he was looking around, and this ditch over here to our left, it's a drainage ditch, and it runs all the way down the edge of the property. And there's a barbed wire fence here that they've got cows over in this area. And you can see Billy's standing down there. You can see how deep it is. That's a natural anti-vehicle thing. Now it does give an attacker a place to hide. So how would you guys take care of that?
From the very edges of it here, nobody's just going to drive a vehicle across unless Darren built it. You could get a tank across it, but how many people own one of those?
Yep.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, we go back to World War I, and how did they do it back then? Tanglefoot.
Yep.
So you can put natural barriers, whether you're stringing out concertina wire, laying it on the edge of your property, nobody's just going to walk through that. Or if it's tanglefoot, which is basically U-shaped pickets all in the ground, you're not just going to walk. And if it's at night, you're definitely not just going to walk through there. People are going to be falling down. When they fall, they make noise. But Darren, you were noticing some other things as well.
Well, you got a barbed wire there, but he's talking about tanglefoot. You can run in the permaculture side of it, your blackberries, your wild raspberries, your roses, and all that down through there, and make it uncomfortable for anybody to try and hide in there.
That's right.
Stinging nettles will nail them.
You're not landing on that.
But yeah, there's that second barrier. As the gate, He knows how many vehicles I got. I got old junk vehicles. I could just drag them up and just block everything off.
That's a great idea. So how would you go about doing that? You'd put them up here, use them as a barrier.
I'd put them to where you'd have to go around it, and if you have to fall back, you pull them on in and completely jam up the works so they can't get in.
So you got natural barriers that we're exploiting. What about this other side, y'all? Do you see any positives or negatives over here?
It's got a fence, but somebody could drive through it. I would put more hedge, more, like I said, the tanglefoot through here to just jam them up. The more you can slow them down, the better that I see that you can actually repel the attack.
And I agree with Darren. Hedge along this fence line right here would be perfect, because you can take hedge and you bend it over as it's growing, and you can intertwine it, and you can create a barrier down this fence line here that's impenetrable. You're not going to drive through it.
Right.
It'll be, pigs can't even get through those type of fences if you do it right. Now, it's a permaculture thing, so it's going to take you 3 or 4 years to get something usable, but eventually you're going to have a barrier that can't be crossed.
Remember in World War II, they had to specialize tanks on D-Day through all those hedgerows and stuff that they had there. They were so bad that they had to put plows in the front of those tanks just to get through them. So just remember that also. But we have also an avenue of approach, not easy. But yeah, you want to take those places that are easily exploitable, where no, there's already a fence there. It's got welded wire, so that's something. Remember, it is military doctrine that in order to make anything impenetrable, you got to have an obstacle, it has to be observed by, and it has to be covered by a threat. You got to have all three to make it all work. So anybody thinking that, oh, I just got my guard dog, no, that's just one of 3 you got to have. You got to have an obstacle, got to be observed, and it's got to be protected by a threat.
Yeah, my dogs will meet you at the road when you come up. They listen to people coming across the road, and they can hear somebody slowing down, and when they slow down, they're at the road watching down the drive. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, and I think you give a good transition, because like we said, we don't defend from the house. So how would we, once we go through the gate, how would we set up positions to defend these obstacles and observe them without being in the house?
Let's go check it out.
So we're defending these obstacles. We've got the ditch down here full of organic tanglefoot, and then we've got this fence. We've built our hedgerow, and there.
Oh.
So the way we defend it is we put raised beds right in here. If you look out here off in this direction, you see all the sunlight. Great place for a garden. Put raised beds out there. You can make them out of logs. You can make them out of concrete. You can make them out of all kinds of material, and that gives you a place that you can get outside the house, and you can defend the edge of your property without actually being in the house. Which, if you have to fall back, you've got the house to fall back into. So I mean, look how much growing space is out there. Seriously.
He's also talking about something that you could double as a fighting position. So right here at the front, right here at this entrance, you know it's jumping out at me. I know nobody's just going to easily cross over here, but I'll tell you what, right here where somebody could breach this and drive right over, well, you're not driving. If I put a little, not even a little, but a pretty good hugel mound.
That's what I was thinking.
So we're all thinking the same thing.
You put your food in that, and you got covered.
It's functional. And it's functional in every way imaginable. So we're growing food out here, and at the same time, it's also a fighting position. So how cool is that? So now we got you in what's called a choke point. Remember, y'all, in the military also, you don't see minefields. It's not like the movie where you have minefields and they get blown up. You want the enemy to see your obstruction. That way they are channeled into a choke point. What do we got right here? Massive choke point. They only got one way in, one way out. So it makes them a little bit cautious. Remember, these things are double-edged swords too, you know. I mean, they can also hide behind that.
Look at the lane of fire, the line of sight. You got them from this side, you got them from this side, all coming into this point here.
Bam.
So they don't know where you're at back on the property. And if you got that rifle that reaches out and touches somebody.
Well, and you know, one thing we forgot to talk about is LPs and OPs.
Yes.
Bam.
Yep.
So the hugel mound right here would be a great observation point for the road. And then if you look back here on the other side of that road, there's a little ridge line that comes down to this where this road is. You could put an observation point or a listening point up on that ridge, and you can see the road because it winds back up the hillside that way quite a bit. And you can observe somebody coming way before they get to your property.
Bam. I'm glad you pointed that out. See, this is the benefit of seeing it from 3 different perspectives, 3 different branches, and people that have been at this a long, long time. Listening post-observation post, y'all, invaluable, because if you had, like you were saying, Garen, you had somebody back up here with a ghillie suit, hiding up in these woods, or maybe they're a mile down the road, and I mean, you could be easily hidden up there, tell everybody back here, hey, your threat's coming. Bam. They could already be waiting on them.
You could face paint and just be in some black clothes and disappear up in that. Well, it's dark.
And an ambush.
It gives you somebody on their flank, just from the get-go. So it gives you an advantage without even having to work at it.
How cool is that, y'all? We're overlaying. This is what everybody's been asking for. How do we overlay? I mean, I couldn't be more thankful just to hang out with my friends in the first place, but also in the second, that we're able to on-site design a property here in place to make it not only productive in terms of food, but also, I mean, it's pimped out in the most positive way in terms of how you would protect it. So the two can't overlap. I mean, you got a hugel mound here, you can grow food and also defend yourself. And honestly, this could even be an inside LPOP.
The
How
other
cool is
thing
that?
we laid that property out in Kansas over there, and you know that drive ain't straight. It's got bends in it, and there are places you can set cover or hugel mounds, and you won't get down through there because of the obstructions that's there. And I'd kind of change this driveway the same way.
That's right. So where it's just not
take it back out over here or something, and plant boxes or something over here, and then just have some kind of obstruction to block the drive.
That's right.
Past the gate.
And plus, it also, when you're doing what Darren's saying, is that a person can't just come at 100 miles an hour, blow right through your defenses if you have it like this.
Yeah.
If they got to go in and out, it also slows them down to a point that makes them. The last thing an enemy wants to do is go in creeping, because it just made a tactical advantage for the other side. So if you can not have things in a straight line, if you can make it weave in and out, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I'd put 2 bollards right there.
Bam.
So that when a bollard basically is a pipe set in the ground, and you take another pipe and set it down inside of it, and it makes a impromptu barrier. And by putting it here, what happens is if they breach the gate, if they're in a vehicle, they have to turn the vehicle sideways to you, which it's going to be way more vulnerable that way. So that'd be a great thing to do. And bollards, folks, you can pull the stuff right off your property. You basically dig a hole, put a piece of pipe in it, and then you go cut a great big piece of walnut, some really hardwood, and you just drop it in that hole anytime you want.
Well, just like Darren said, worst case scenario, if you got some extra vehicles out there, in the worst kind of collapse, you're not just going to be driving around anyway. So what would you do? You would park them right here.
Yeah, there'd be something up close that I could just drag across.
How cool is that?
The one problem I'm seeing with the property is it does sit down. It's in the low ground, so you've got observation from 360 degrees from the high ground. It can observe you, but again,
That'd be a good sniper.
Yes, it would. Well, I was just walking over to the backside of the creek, and I noticed that this building has an opportunity to put a loft door, so you could kick it open, and that'd be a sniper hide for the road, another observation point. And that's off to the side. That's what I was talking about, the wide lane of fire to a choke point. And that'd be a perfect opportunity, because from the road you wouldn't see that door so often. So,
would you clear lanes of fire? Would you clear lanes? Well, you would have to a certain extent. You got that black locust growing up out of there. You would also have some lanes, but honestly, you got a tactical. Where Grumpy was saying a minute ago that, and he's right, that you're at a low spot here. That could help overcome some of your disadvantage.
You got to get height somewhere, and then this building over here is the same opportunity. It's kind of hidden from the house from the road, but if they do get either side of it, you still got that opportunity.
Well, and I would, in that building over there, I would put a door on that side and use it for observation back here, because if, we started talking about the road specifically, but if you look back here on past this gate, there's another house back there, and you've got a bridge right here that a vehicle could come across. There's a creek here that that could bring somebody right up within about 20 feet of that building. So you have to have observation back there, because we don't want to concentrate all our efforts in one direction. You want to get 360-degree security around your property. If you want to shield your property from observation, you could put in a food forest. Make it as dense as possible, and that gives you food production, but it also makes it so that somebody can't sit, say, back at that house. If you put something right there to cover that up, they have to come all the way up to the edge of the property to look in on your property.
Compromising themselves.
Right,
man.
right. You know, and do we want the bad guys to get that close? No, in theory we do not. But sometimes the reality of the tactical situation, you have to deal with the hand that you're dealt. And right here, there's a creek right on the other side of these weeds, you know. So somebody can get up close to your property whether you want them to or not, you know. So, and the only way you do that is you take care of that is you observe it and put obstacles in there.
Well, like the gate, another thing we didn't mention yet is they're coming in on foot. They're trying to do a slow approach. You put plywood or something out there so they actually have to extend themselves out, and it's porous enough that you can penetrate that and take them out. Any kind of approach that they have, you got to make them get into the position that you want them in, not an advantage to them. So
These guys are going to laugh me to scorn, but I'm going to say something that is pretty doggone radical. First of all, I agree totally with the food forest concept, and I also think that you could overlay a lot of other things, like why couldn't you do silvopasture and run your animals in and out of there? They could also be hid up in that thicket if you were to grow it up right. Put some fodder trees in there where they could be fed and have just enough. But here's where they're going to laugh at me. Over here, I think we ought to walk this way, because I got an idea that honestly it would fulfill a couple of things for me that as a kid I've always wanted to do. Okay, in the military, if you have a bridge, if you have anything like that and you have to destroy it to not allow your enemy access, what people don't realize is that if I have a bridge, this is the friendly side, this is the enemy side, you always blow up the friendly side. Why? Because the enemy has to cross all the way over there, and now they're on your side before they can even think about breaching it. You know what I'd do right here? And this is the most balling thing ever, is put a drawbridge right here. Like, bam! Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I'd take this bridge out, and I would have some sort of winch, some sort of things. Number one, it'd be kind of cool, but you got a pretty good area here, so where I don't even have to destroy this bridge if I could just limit access completely. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily have to be this wide, but I'm telling you what, I would honestly consider making a drawbridge, and I bet you Darren can figure it out in about, 15 minutes? But how cool would it be if you had a little thing where you could drawbridge this thing up? Now, it made their ability to drive over this absolutely insignificant. That way I don't have to destroy this bridge. But also, is there anything we could do to get food on either side of this, y'all? I'm thinking, why couldn't we exploit this if you had time? Exploit this, make this a pond. Yep. We got a natural stream coming right through here that y'all can't necessarily see. We had a pond. Why couldn't you borrow some of that water for a little while? And you can be growing crawdads, and I know for sure you'd be growing crawfish out of here. You could also be getting some small fish, whatever. It's protein.
Yep. Well, and it flows downhill that way, and it's quite an appreciable drop between here and the other end of the property. You could put coffer dams every 20, 30 feet, and if somebody goes into that at night, splash, you hear them coming. If it's wintertime, man, I'm telling you what, I don't know if you ever been in water when it's 30 degrees outside. It is not fun. You make them as uncomfortable as you can be. Plus, like you said, you grow crawdads, you can probably grow some small bass in there too if you got it deep enough. Crappie, yep.
Why not? I mean, and then plus this place, folks, what we're also getting at too is that we're going through and we're walking it out to show that you may want to actually get a consultation. We're able to be way more objective on a property we don't own. That's why when you call for a permaculture design or a tactical design, whatever the case may be, you bring in outside people that can look at your place dispassionately. Because how many times have all of us been out there, did a consultation for somebody, and you're seeing it in a way, like when I asked Darren to look at my chicken tractor, 2 seconds, he's sitting there looking at it, well, we just changed this up, it's 10 times better. And then after he said it, I'm like, Why didn't I think of that?
And I'll have that built this winter, so we'll have that running. I've got a rooster crew that I'm gonna run in the garden with that system.
So there's all
We'll
these
have-
different things, y'all, where you want to bring in outside. I mean, you want to bring in outside people because when it's your property, you're going to see it in a very narrow lens. But if you come in and look at it, you're looking at it. It's funny, as I'm walking through here, they're bringing up stuff I didn't even think about. Like Darren's talking about the observation point from these high structures, even the house itself. And Garen's talking about, hey, let's put a food forest back here. Those are things I didn't think about. But maybe I'm bringing up things like, I know nobody else thought of the drawbridge.
No. and who doesn't want to own a drawbridge?
Yeah.
Who doesn't, man? That's the
Yeah.
coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Let's go check something else out. In a pinch, I'll eat them little guppies.
Okay,
Who's starting? Okay.
so we are down here by the ponds. There are 2 ponds. I think there's a third one down there, isn't there? So we're down here by the ponds, and if we can get the camera to look back over here to the east, you cannot see where we're sitting from the house. And any defensive positions you have there, you would not be able to observe this. So you would have to push your defense out to this area in order to defend this, because this is a natural avenue of approach. You can come right up between these 2 ponds, and it puts you right in front of the house. So that's the first thing. And we were talking on the way over here. This would be, if you were not fishing these ponds, these would be zone 3, right?
Possibly, depending on how you set things up. I think honestly, Darren, you were pointing out the water quality differences between the two, and that's important. You want to talk about that?
That's awful silty over there, and if you can see, this is a lot clearer. Right here, I can see the bottom, so it's
It's blue,
3.5,
man.
4 feet deep, and this is on the live feed of the spring-fed creek that's coming down through here.
So it's naturally being filtered right through there, and that running water, it's adding some oxygen in there. So this would be a good place to put a whole lot of
noticed
protein.
all kinds of herbs there. There's sage, there's basil, peppermint, all down through the edge of there. On that side, there's a whole bunch of blackberry or raspberry, and it's filtering all of that as it's coming down here and feeding this. So,
but from a standpoint of on your homestead and how to feed yourself, what options do y'all see in terms of what somebody might have in these ponds or around these ponds? Right off the bat, I think I would take some of these ponds, instead of just having a round pond. William and I, one of the first videos I think we ever did was, instead of making a round pond, Darren said it a moment ago, add edge to it by making it, maybe make that pond look like a clover leaf, because everywhere, the more edge you make, the more life you bring in. All the action in a permaculture system, the most action, happens on where 2 mediums meet. So whether it's the water and the edge, but if we can add more edge around that pond, like a chinapa, that's adding me more
in
life.
a mechanical world, that's how a heat sink works. It dissipates more heat the more surface area you get. In the permaculture side of it, it draws more energy in and creates more life the more edge you got.
Well, that means more food, right?
And from a preparedness standpoint, you've got your water preparedness, and you've got food preparedness through your permaculture stuff. And as far as food here, you got fish. You could put edible aquatic plants in there.
Bam.
And it just gives you all kinds of options that you wouldn't have otherwise. The problem with it, and it's not a problem, it's something a hurdle that you got to do, is that would be a very important source of water, and that was something that I literally defend with your life. Seriously. So you would have to design any defensive measures you put up by the house to make sure that nobody drops a dead animal in there, or they foul it up in any way whatsoever.
If you stick it out, because clearly this is going to take some time to unfold. The idea isn't what we're necessarily seeing on this property, but hopefully those of you at home will say, "Oh, good night. They gave me an idea of what I could do on my property," because clearly your property isn't going to be set up that way. But you're providing ways in which somebody, no matter where they are, could be taking pieces as they fit to their own.
That's why we're here. Pick our brains and our experience and use it the way you want to.
If you've got ideas, man, put them in the comments down below. We want to hear it. Share them. That's what this whole medium's about. And something we didn't think about down here. I said we have to observe this, but we humans do not have to observe this. You could put geese down here.
Bam.
and I don't know if you guys have ever been around geese, but they are very loud and obnoxious when people are around them that they do not like.
Right.
They're aquatic guinea, basically.
And can chase you off.
Yeah. So you put geese down here in this pond, and somebody's coming up here in the middle of the night, you hear that squawking, you know something's going on.
So it can be functional, and it can be filling your belly all at the same time. I don't think so. I just think it's been filtered.
All right, we found an exploitation on the property for the attacker. You look down through here, this is a natural rise that they can hide behind and actually, you know, get a line of sight on the house.
Look at that. Show you exactly what you can see.
Yep. Now, the good part is the road runs down through here, so they can't just drive over, but we would have to put hedgerow, tanglefoot, something here, and then we were talking about more of an orchard up there to start blocking that line of sight so they can't get a good bead to the house.
Or some way to
can be
obstruct
food.
them. Yeah.
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 And it can be food, so.
So there's a whole lot of awesome things, medicinal. You were pointing out a number of things. So you want to know, it's one of the areas I'm really weak at as far as wild foraging. So that's one of the areas I'm trying to get better at. But you guys have both pointed out a number of things along the way here that you could exploit. So it's not, there is really, it's a sad shame that these days we got to even talk about the need to overlay preparedness. This is a foolish statement because it's always baked into permaculture, but we have to in a more active way really kind of overlay our preparedness with our permaculture. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, how do I put this? So with the way things are going, you know, if you look around the world, you know, during the collapse in Argentina, rural homesteads became targets. They would lay in wait. You look in Rhodesia, South Africa, even today, rural homesteads are under attack, and it's kind of stupid to think that wouldn't happen here. You know, if a collapse happens, if we believe what we say we believe, then not preparing for it would be foolish.
I would totally. I don't think I could say it any better. Darren, anything you want to add to all this? I mean, we got a time in America. Here we are before the Back to the Land festival, and one of the cool things about going to something like that is that we can cross-pollinate with other people.
Yeah.
And have you ever been in one of these things where you didn't learn something?
No.
Oh man.
Every time go home, especially in June when we went to Self-Reliance Festival. Our brains were like a sponge, and it was just dripping out. We couldn't contain it. We were writing stuff down to make sure we didn't lose it, to get back and share. And it was, when we got back, it was hit the ground running with that stuff. So, yeah, even we've been doing this a while, we still learned a bunch. We've
been at this, y'all. We aren't the Johnny come lately, and this is why I'm so excited to do this video. We all have a background in different aspects of the military. We all have backgrounds in different aspects of farming. We all have backgrounds, obviously, that are different, distinctly different. So collectively, when we take our joint wisdom and put it together in a video like this, I know that everybody out there would be very, very grateful to hear a different perspective of all of it. But remember, it's not so much what we're noticing on this property, it's to evoke you to think about how can I apply what they're talking about to my own.
Just look at your property in a different set of eyes, and that's what we're giving you, is the idea to look at it a different way.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to close this video out, and we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
that much.
We could spend all day out here walking around talking about what to do. We didn't even talk about up close to the house. You know, there's a whole nother set of things to think about when you're up close to the house. You know, defense and how to keep people from getting up and observing inside your windows and stuff that are permaculture related. We haven't even touched on.
So folks, maybe there's a business opportunity that extends itself to somebody out here, maybe us, where you hire folks like maybe the three of us here, or maybe get friends that used to, you know, just because they served in the military doesn't necessarily mean they know how to overlay farming with a tactical nature. Just because somebody served in the military they're not going to look at it in the same eyes. So anybody out there thinking that this might be an opportunity for you, it might very well be, if you have a background in a military position and also a background in farming. There's an opportunity there, because seriously, the three of us looking at this place are seeing it from three very distinct ways. So the more, I forget how it says in the Bible exactly, but where there are lots of counselors, there's a lot of wisdom. So with that said, y'all, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because we got to get ready to get out there and get going. So if you want to find everybody, tell everybody, let's all go around and we're going to talk about the best places to find us. For me, it's at billy@permapasturesfarm.com. If you want to buy anything, we all three have a YouTube channel, but we were friends before all that anyway. How do they find you? How do they find you, Darren?
YouTube is Hacks for the Homesteaders. Instagram, Hacks for the Homesteaders. Facebook, Darren Strong. You can find my emails on those. What else? Oh, we didn't mention farmsteading.com.
Oh yeah.
Get over there and check it out because you want a consolidated, massive wisdom. There's so many people on there that's got input. So check that out.
Freesteading.com.
Freesteading? What did I say?
Farmsteading.
That's our we got senior moments from time to time, but the information's solid.
Thank you, William. And yeah, check everybody out over there, and any festivals that you can get to. You can meet guys like us at a gun store, gun range, out there on airsoft fields. You can meet us in Lowe's. You strike up a conversation, and you'll find real quick that might be somebody that you want to start a friendship with. So we're out there. It's just trying to get avenues or forums or whatever to get a hold of each other that way. So yeah, there's my information.
So we're at Grumpy Acres Farm, and we're on right now. Our primary source of social media is YouTube. We're working on getting a website up. We're on Facebook as Grumpy Acres Farm, and we're on Rumble. I can't remember. It's either Grumpy G or Grumpy Acres Farm. I can't remember which one they did it. But all our videos are posted over at Rumble as well. They're more free speech orientated than YouTube, and so we're hedging our bets in case something happens. We've got a fallback place to go to. Hopefully soon. Freesteading's supposed to have its own video hosting platform, so hopefully we'll be able to put stuff there too. But you know, I'm just going to echo what these guys said. You know, get another set of eyes on it. Somebody, and if you know somebody that's in the military or has been in the military, just have them come out and look at it from a tactical standpoint. I mean, there's no harm in it. And if you've made it this far and you're a homesteader, you may be scratching your head going, this kind of isn't really homesteading related. This is more prepper stuff. I came to the conclusion recently that homesteading is the final manifestation of preparedness. That if you're a prepper, your goal should be to become a homesteader. Now you may not go there. You may not have the financial ability, you know, but if you're making steps in that direction, you're moving in the right direction.
Well, you need a resupply plan too, and that's what we do. We grow it, we raise it, we farm it, we butcher it, we process it, put it in the jars, put it in the freeze dryer. We do all that, y'all. All right, y'all. So this has been a real joy to hang out with my friends here. We're gonna hit this festival. We might produce some other content. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Go live a life done free.
That's right.